Hi everyone, I read Questioning for Classroom Discussion. I think this is a really great book for any classroom teacher. Chapter 1 starts with quality questioning. It says that research really connects student engagement through questioning and discussion to improve learning outcomes. This includes higher level thinking, and it also increases student achievement. It also talks about how it supports critical thinking and collaborative problem solving. The book also talked about how a lot of teachers really believe that they are questioning for discussion, but they're actually using more questioning for recitation, which is more yes or no questions or factual questions. And this does not really promote the higher level thinking that we're wanting as teachers. To really provide a really good discussion for questioning, or questioning for discussion. It talks about how teachers really need to plan out and establish a clear purpose of the discussion. That even one well thought out question can really last the whole class period, and that effective discussions happen and depend on the knowledge of the skills of the students. It goes on to talk about how to frame a question, and that it requires 3 steps. It says that first, as a teacher, you have to identify an issue, you craft the question, and then you anticipate student responses. They said that's really important to anticipate the response because it really can go away from where your goals are going or what your goals are at, and that as a teacher we have to anticipate it going wrong, and so you can prepare for that so you know how to get the students back to where your focus is. It also talks about how questions should really be developed ahead of time and not in the moment. If it's in the moment, more than likely it's going to be more of a recitation question. I found an article that kind of goes along with chapter 1. It talks about how the use of high frequency of higher cognitive questions with older students is positively related to increase in on-task behavior, length of student responses, the number of relevant contributions, the number of student-to-student interactions, student use of complete sentences, speculative thinking, and relevant questions posed by students. It also talks about how, in another article I found, how effective questions, like really good effective questions, should be open-ended, that probe and elicit expanded thinking and processing of information, and also divergent questions that have multiple possible answers, that also encourage students to be creative or express their insight. Chapter 2 starts off with a really great definition of discussion. It says discussion is a process through which individual students give voice to their thoughts in a disciplined manner as they interact with others to make meaning and advance individual and collective understanding of an issue in the question. It says the essence of a discussion is really a social dimension. The 3 primary skill sets can be associated with social dimension is speaking, listening, and collaborating. It gives some skill sets that you might want to help your discussants learn, like with speaking, you want to teach them to speak clearly and loudly. You want to teach them to open a discussion without raising their hand, to use complete sentences. With listening, you want to make sure that they are using silence after a classmate stops speaking so that they can actually think about what the speaker said, that they are asking questions to better understand the speaker's point of view. With collaborating, they can actively seek to include classmates who are not participating, respond to classmates' questions non-defensively. Some dispositions that you would want to teach your discussants would be active listening, open-mindedness, perseverance or persistence, taking reasonable risks, flexibility in thinking. Then chapter 3, it goes on to talk about teacher-guided discussion. It gives a picture of the 5 stages of discussion that a teacher can do to prepare for a discussion, a classroom discussion. It says the keys to an effective teacher-guided discussions are teacher intentionality and explicitness. The 5 stages are prepare, opening, sustaining, closing, and reflecting. Prepare. The teacher is going to frame the question, determine which skills and dispositions to spotlight. Opening, she might review the norms and guidelines to help the students focus on targeted skills and dispositions. Present the question. Sustaining, she's going to listen to understand, scaffold with questions or statements, and to monitor, ensure equitable participation. With closing, she's going to assist group in consolidated thinking and help discussants identify emerging or unanswered questions. And then with reflecting, the teacher will facilitate individual student reflections and self-assessment, lead the group in assessing collaborative processes, and then reflect on the quality of the question. I found another article that goes along with that. They said it's really important to leave time at the end of the discussion to synthesize the central issues covered. And it also talks about the importance of, as a teacher, we really want to model how we want our students to discuss the questions and how to act with the other students. And then let's see. It also talks about, with the reflecting, I thought this goes along with that, how teachers really need to keep a weekly audit of the participation in the class discussion, and to kind of it's really important to reflect on yourself, not just your students, to make sure that the questions are being answered and that it's actually higher cognitive level questioning. On chapter 4, it's about structured small group discussions. It says small group structures such as think, pair, share are particularly useful for engaging students and holding each one accountable for preparing a response to every question. It says that the small group structures is also a great opportunity for teachers to monitor and coach individuals and groups. It talks about how that think time's very important for the students. The silence during a discussion to process what others have said, to rethink their own position, to consolidate their thinking. It also helps for students to, if they stop and think, that they'll have lengthier, more thoughtful responses and higher level responses. It says that sharing with classmates serves 2 primary purposes: individual accountability for reading and thinking, and the opportunity to extend learning through speaking and listening. It says small group structures can be helpful for attaining content-related targets. Chapter 5, the last one, is about student-driven discussions, putting students in the driver's seat. And they said there's no right or wrong way to conduct a student-driven discussion. It's really based on the outcomes and the readiness of both the teachers and the students. To prepare students to engage in discussion, teachers should find it helpful to activate student thinking by engaging them in silent written reflection, think, pair, share, or see, think, wonder in small groups. In student-driven discussion, the most essential questioning practice is the creation of a classroom environment that supports thoughtful and respectful discourse, a safe environment in which students are comfortable articulating their own beliefs and are able to disagree respectfully, pose true questions, and risk going out on the limb. So teachers should consider ways to engage students and as they frame a focused question for discussions. And as teachers, we must be both intentional and persistent in communicating to our students our expectations that they all have something worthy to contribute to the broader understanding of an important issue. So, and that was pretty much the whole book. I think it's very important that as teachers that we need to make sure that each student feels like what they have to say is worthy of listening to, and I think as teachers we can really help that by providing a safe environment for them to speak. All right, thank you.